Ooh, that's so fun. Oh, here we are. We are live. This is Erin Morgan. I am the editor-in-chief of Eye Care Business Magazine, and I am very excited to be here today on our live stream broadcast with Dr. Jennifer Burke of Ideology Vision Care in Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So we are here today she is going to talk a little bit about my marketing team, which is a VSP initiative and program for all practices that can help with marketing and social media. And Dr. Jen is a real expert on that front, and she's going to share some tips and strategies with us today on how her practice really finds success with those kinds of things. So, Jen, can you tell us a little bit about your practice and how long have you been in practice?
Awesome. Well, I've been a practicing optometrist for coming up on 10 years now, but I ventured off and started my cold start practice a little bit over 5 years ago. The practice demographic is kind of mid to upper class. I see a lot of young families, and so I market to moms basically. And where are moms? Social media. So that has been tremendously successful for the growth of my practice. And it's something that I haven't had to invest a whole lot of money in, but it's paid big time in returns as far as patients coming into my practice.
That's fantastic. Well, and Dr. Burke's going to talk a little bit today too about how you market your practice online that way, and also how you promote the shopping local experience in your own community, because that's real important. And that is a very critical component of the My Marketing Team program with VSP. So that's a really great offering. And there's some fantastic resources that we'll be sharing, and Dr. Jen will be sharing with you here today that are downloadable. So you'll be able to click on those links. So just before we get started with our kind of strategies and Q&A, with Dr. Jen, we are going to let you all know that we'll have a quick Q&A session at the end. So if you, as you're listening here live with us, if you have questions, please feel free to type them into the comment bar on Facebook or on YouTube. So right there underneath in the comment bar, you can type them in and we'll be able to see them here. And we can address any questions you may have about the program, about Dr. Burke's practice, all that good stuff. So also, if you folks could tell us who you are and where your practice is located, the name of your practice, we'd love to have kind of give shout outs to folks who are in attendance. So please share with us who you are. We'd love to know that you're here. So thanks for joining us. So Dr. Burke, the first topic I'd like to cover is kind of Small Business Saturday. It's coming up at the end of the month. It's a great chance to support local businesses. Obviously, local businesses across the country need all the help and support they can get these days with the pandemic in place. So shopping local looks a bit different this year, obviously. What does this mean to you and your practice?
So Small Business Saturday and the time leading up to it is a really great time to remind your patients that you are in fact a small business. Sometimes patients don't think of their doctor as a mom and pop business, but in reality, we really are. So I think it's important to remind your patients that yes, we are a small business and we are part of the community. So supporting a small business, as in their eye care provider, can help bolster their community. So while my practice in particular, we close on Small Business Saturday, and I would imagine a good chunk of optometrists may not be open that day, but it's important to plant the seed to your patients that now is a great time to support local and what happens when they put their money in a local business. I mean, we are the type of people who are going to support their kids' fundraisers. And when you support a small business, that's employing people in your community. That's, providing charity eye exams for people in your community. So the money stays where you are, which is important to remind your patients. I think another thing to think about is it's helpful if you post before Small Business Saturday to plant the seed early, because Black Friday and things like that, your message may get lost in the mix. So now is a perfect time to start planting those seeds. And it's a good thing. You can, our practice offers gift certificates. So for instance, if you don't know what to get, your mom for Christmas, you could get her, could give her a gift certificate for an eye exam and eyewear, or your practice can structure it however you like. We call it giving the gift of sight, and we have specific gift certificates for that. So that's a good thing to plant the seed early for your patients.
I love that. That is a great idea for them to get to know. So how, just as an aside, how would you start planting that seed?
So we actually just started yesterday, and VSP has been tremendously helpful. They, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I'd like to share my screen with you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'll show you something that VSP made super easy for me to share. So yesterday we posted this shop local post. Are you guys able to see that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So this graphic right here was provided by VSP, and that is available to all providers, not just Premier practices, but all providers. So you can go and visit the links and use things like this. So we're basically letting people know that we are a local business and the money that you spend here stays within the community. And then we're planting the seed that we have our Give the Gift of Sight, and we'll be adding to that as time goes on to go a little bit more in detail as far as that's concerned. So that's one of the things that we can do to start planting the seed about small business and Small Business Saturday.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. You're very high tech over there. So the next, I'd like to just kind of transition then into social media and to talk about that as a topic, because we find in our research with our readers at Eye Care Business that social media is an area of need, obviously, for practices across the country. They don't have expertise in it, so having a leg up and having resources to be able to utilize, to do better with your social media really take the load off of practice, which obviously everybody's busier than ever these days. So you and your staff are super active on Instagram and your Facebook channels. It's at Ideology Vision
we
Care,
are
your tag?
At Ideology LV is our Instagram.
Nice. Okay. And so at Ideology LV, if you folks want to check out Dr. Burke's practice on Instagram. So is social media, you guys do so well with it. Is it something you enjoy? Was that just kind of came naturally? I know you said that's your target patient base, so you needed to be there. But is it also something that you enjoy and bringing that into your practice?
I do. And so when we started the practice, we started from before we opened our doors. We posted pictures of the construction of the office. As a millennial, I was a Facebook user and an Instagram user. And now, the possibilities are endless with TikTok and the next generation of social media platforms. Is this something that I enjoy? Yes. But even now with TikTok, I feel like I am trying to play catch up as far as learning how to use the technology to my advantage. And I've really leaned on my Generation Z staff members to help me learn how to edit and run ideas by them as far as what would be fun videos for us to do for the office.
That's great. So definitely good to tap into your younger office workers, who kind of, that comes naturally. They're likely already spending a lot of time on social media as it is.
Absolutely. And so our social media page, it isn't just me. It's myself and two staff members. We all kind of tag team as far as what our strengths are for working on our social media page. So I've got one staff member who's really great with graphic design. I've got one that's great at editing the TikTok videos. And then I kind of come up with some of the ideas, and they do as well. And one way that we keep all of that organized and we plan our posts ahead of time as best we can, that's one thing that we did during the pandemic, when we were in the shutdown, I had those 2 staff members work together and plan out posts for the next 6 months. So we didn't even have to think about it when we came back. And there's a website that's free to use. It's called later.com, that we're able to plan our posts, and you can put the time and the date that you want to post things, and if it's going to be on your Instagram versus Facebook. That's been tremendously helpful, because it's hard to remember, like, oh no, it's Veterans Day, we have to post something. You think about it at,
Right.
11 a.m. Well, you kind of missed the boat on that factor. So if you can plan ahead for specific holidays or National Sunglass Day or things like that, it won't feel so hectic.
Exactly, definitely. Having kind of a schedule to plan things out for the year. We do the same on iCare Business. We have a great schedule that we follow, and every day is a different thing, like National Donut Day, or there's always something to have fun with, for sure. So, then looking at your social media, so that's kind of how you delegate it. You have you and 2 staff members who and you capitalize on their strengths, because obviously they have strengths in areas and they probably enjoy using those on the social media and having fun with it. So that's a nice kind of benefit. So is there, I know, you kind of come up with a lot of the ideas. What do you particularly love to do on social media? Like, do you create the videos? Do you make the, like, do you film the TikToks? And do you provide any kind of patient education?
I do. And so that's something that that's kind of the goal to focus on more so, is to use some of the videos for patient education. And then we leave them on our profile. So I have one, I'll show my screen with you again here. Okay. So we've done a few little educational topics. And one of those has been on blue light exposure and screen time here. I talked about, with kids being online. So that's a whole series. I'm an infancy provider. I get a lot of questions as far as, what we do during an infant exam. So I have some videos in our highlight here under the baby exams. During the shutdown, we created an online store. And I went over how to use that. And then, little tips on eye allergies. And then we have some of our highlights as well from our charity events that we run here at the office. So as far as doing the videos, yes, as you can see, some of the videos here, and here, those are our TikTok videos. And while those are a little bit more time consuming, those are the ones that we really get good patient engagement with. And it's okay to have fun and to be a little bit goofy. I really get a lot of feedback from our patients that they feel like when they come to our page, it's like one of their friends. But I'm also giving them important eye information. So we do a combination between videos that are humorous, educational posts, and things that are relevant for the day.
That's great. You can really feel the energy on the page. It has a lot of great information there, as well as it looks visually fun, and too. So I think that's an important aspect, especially for Instagram. So it sounds like you with that kind of approach, you've really built a community of loyal followers on your social. Now, obviously with that content and with the, cohesiveness and the approach to the content, is that how you've achieved it? Are there any other ways that you feel like that's helped?
There's a few different things. So when we started off, because I was the administrator of our Instagram page and our Facebook page, and I think it can start with the doctor. So when you're inviting people to start liking your page, it should be people who are, connected to the practice. So that's a good way to start. And then another way that we've been able to increase our patient engagement is for particularly fun pairs of glasses. If a patient comes in for a dispense and they've got some wicked cool glasses, we ask them like, hey, you would be so great for our social media feed. Would you mind if we shared your image? And then we have a whole press release waiver for them to sign. And we'll say like, hey, follow us on Instagram. We're going to be posting you. And then they'll post, and then sometimes they'll share it. Their friends are like, "Oh, those are cool glasses. What that practice looks so cool," and it kind of expands your reach, not to just your patient, but also all of their Facebook or Instagram followers.
Gotcha. That sounds really fun, and I love that kind of when you're sharing them, and then they're sharing with their friends. That really builds that community, and it's exponential because you're reaching other folks through their share, and they'll say, oh, I want to go check out Ideology. because it's such a
Absolutely.
great fun place. So that is awesome. So the next topic, and this is our last topic I want to address, is asking you a bit about your social media success, but also marketing tips, which is so critical in today's world. So how do you define success with social media and marketing in general for your practice? How do you feel that how do you measure that?
So, I mean, I know that there are doctors that really hate the online review sites, but for us, it's been non-paid advertisement that has just exploded the growth of my practice. We focused early on with making sure that we were encouraging our patients to review us online and talk to us about their experience. And I feel like there was a point of critical mass within the last year and a half where we got a ton of, got to a certain amount of Google reviews and a certain amount of Yelp reviews, where now it's this like cyclical process that's exploding. So I heard about you on Google. And if they're the sort of person that heard about you on Google or Yelp, they're likely to leave a review. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So my practice, we haven't spent money on advertisement in a really long time.
That's amazing.
So, and I'm also in a relatively saturated market in the major metropolitan area. So, trying to pay for Google SEO for eye doctor near me, it just doesn't make any sense. But if somebody types in best kids eye doctor, all my Yelps, all my Google reviews where people are mentioning that sort of thing is going to come up, and I'm not spending any money to do so. So while it does take time in order to build to that point. Once you're there, it's nice not to have to spend the money for that.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say are your biggest challenges? You seem like you guys have such a seamless kind of, awesome operation on the social media front. What are your biggest, do you have challenges? And, with marketing or practice management in general, even looking at, COVID today?
So I feel like there's not a huge in-between zone. So when I first started, I had all the time in the world to do marketing and not a lot of patience. And then I felt like all of a sudden we have plenty of patience and I have no time to focus on the social media. So when we first started, I was doing it all. I had to learn to delegate and let go a little bit. And for me, I'm kind of a control freak. So that was a kind of a difficult transition for me. But now I'm a mom of a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old and trying to run the practice. I don't have time to spend on our social media. So delegation was really key. And to be honest with you, as far as the COVID shutdown, while as a private practice doctor, we all were kind of in the same boat. That was a really scary period of time for our businesses. We really used that time to communicate with our patients about, ways that we were going to be available to help them out. We talked about telehealth. We talked about public health issues. We talked about, just really updating our patients day to day as far as where we were and things. And when we reopened and what the plans were going to be, we went into really deep detail on our social media as far as things that we put in place in our practice post-COVID to make sure that our patients knew that they were going to be kept safe. And that was really successful as well.
That's great. So, and we know that we'll be sharing I know we've also shared a link on the side with information on the VSP program, which has a lot of great resources. Do you guys utilize those for your practice?
Yeah, there was some signage that was really, really cute and very modern as far as, wearing masks, I think, from VSP. There were a few different things that were helpful that the VSP website provided us, which was great.
That's fantastic. So, and that, folks, on the side here, you can see, and I see also we have some people attending telling us where they're from. We have a friend that we know, Carissa from Optician Now is here. Hi, Carissa, welcome, and thanks for joining us. And so on the side in the comment bar here, you can see my marketing team from VSP has a complimentary social media scheduling tool for practices participating in the Premier program with VSP. You can learn more at the link there. It's at the vspproviderhub.com, and you'll see the link here, and you can just click right there. So that's some really fantastic information, and also resources that are downloadable We were just looking at these and really, really great stuff there. So that's a new resource from BFP for Premier Practices. So do you, what would kind of be, in closing kind of here as we wrap it up, what would be your advice, Dr. Burke, for practices looking to amplify their marketing efforts? It sounds like obviously you've done a lot without spending a lot.
Exactly. My advice would be not to pay an outside company to do your posting for social media. When an outside company does it, it's going to be vanilla. It's not going to show the personality of your practice. You're not going to get a lot of engagement on the posts, and it's just going to be money wasted. So I really encourage you to find someone in your staff to take that over and to block off time for them to work on it, to plan ahead versus trying to like do it in between patients. Or if it have to be a rule, if like, a family of 2 no-shows, then this person, your technician is going to work on social media posts to try to plan ahead for that sort of thing. The other thing I would recommend, especially for Instagram for inspiration, would be to follow #optometry. And then to see your fellow private practice owners, what they do. I get so much inspiration from some of the posts that we see. And then it's nice because we can, like their posts or comment and tell them that, they have a beautiful office. And then that becomes reciprocal. And then you're also elevating other private practices in other areas by engaging with their posts. So, and it costs you nothing and it takes almost no time, but it's great inspiration as far as, what other practices are doing as far as their advertisement is concerned.
That's great. That's fantastic advice. I'm just going to share my screen here real quick if I can. Let's see. Can you folks see that?
Yes.
I'm just going to scroll through here because I did have a question from an audience member just in terms of, what was available at the VSP Provider Hub for the Shop Local graphics and the different marketing content. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick so folks can see that. They are downloadable graphics to use on your social channels, emails, or even in practice. So there's a couple of different ways that they can be used beyond just social media too. So there's some great graphics there. And you have everything from social media graphic to email graphic to printable posters. So that's really, really helpful. Kind of good stuff there. Okay. So just in closing, and looking at the big picture for your practice, Dr. Burke, what are you most excited about? It's been such a challenging year, right? And we're getting ready to close it out and head into 2021, which everyone is really ready for. What are you most excited about right now in general?
I'm really excited to, as far as the, marketing and social media, I'm really excited to use that for patient education. I find that when we can do short little clips, I feel like that is the sort of thing that sticks with patients, that I had a patient yesterday, for instance, that came in and she's like, yeah, I saw your video about overwearing your contact lenses and that was me. So I booked my appointment that day. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
great. And so little things like that can trigger your patients to come back in and see you or to recommend you to friends based on what's going on. So don't be afraid to get a little goofy. Don't be afraid to show your personality because that's something that is uniquely you that some of the big box stores and retail chains don't have. They don't have you as the doctor showing off personality. So that's something that private practice can really tap into, and people are longing for those connections. People want to help their neighbors out. People want to support local business. So just remind them that you are a local business owner and that you're part of the community.
Absolutely. That is really, really good advice. And in today's world, so important to remember. So, well, thank you so much. We have some wonderful comments here, and Carissa says, fabulous guest, and she is so right. Dr. Burke, thank you so much. That was really excellent information and advice and wonderful tools for our readers and our viewers. So thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.